in the fashion world, when most people talk about engineering, they mean industrial engineering or efficiency engineering, if you will. It's as I mentioned earlier, it's about understanding time, the value of time, and the value of materials, and the consumption of both. That's really what industrial engineering is about. So it often involves work measurement or measurement of utilization of raw materials. It involves building work aids, designing workspace for maximum efficiency, those kinds of things. But it rarely directly involves the building or the mechanical, the HVAC, the air compressor. Sometimes you'll design an air system for it, but typically don't lay out those kinds of things in big space. But in facilities engineering, we were responsible for everything that sat on the ground. So we built a factory from scratch. It'd be about ordering materials, the construction schedule. In fact, my first, literally the first project they gave me was to build a new home office because we were moving their headquarters from Rochester, New York to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to be on the Sara Lee campus. So I was responsible for building the building in addition to the products that were going through the product line.
Okay.
That's the main difference. And most of the time, facilities engineering in the manufacturing and operations world is different from industrial engineering and don't often report to the same boss, or at least not direct. But this was important for me and for the company because, as I said, my first job was to build the headquarters, but also the long-term strategy was to move more production offshore. Now, if you look back at what I was describing my earlier career at this point, I had not really moved production offshore. They'd been tasked with it at BTK, but the logic didn't support, the analysis didn't support the timing being right or the location being. So we never actually did it. But when we got to Champion, we were moving to Mexico, which was now roughly 15 years further advanced in skill development, working with American company development, all those kinds of things. We felt like the base was there. So we moved from about 96% production in company owned facilities domestically. Within 4 years, we were at 50-50.
Oh, wow.
We built factories, multiple factories, and implemented very efficient production systems. And this is where we really got into the production system that I believe is the way more fashion garments should be made today. They're not, but they should be. And that's with single piece flow, lean manufacturing. Conventional sewing was and still is in more factories than it should be. It's about large volume cuttings, large volume sewing production going through at a time. And so you'll have a bundle, which is a standard unit of work. It could be 30 pieces. It could be 72 pieces. You'll have a bundle of parts of the same part, and you'll have another bundle of another part, and you'll be piecing the pieces together. So you'll sew 30 at a time in one operation, or 36 or 72 or whatever. When you finish that, you'll push it on and you'll bring in another bundle and you'll do the same thing over and over again. Single piece flow or lean manufacturing, you can cut the whole order, but you only put in one piece at a time of everything. And if there are defined 7 operations on a garment, you only have 7 operators, and there are only 7 garments in the line, or 5 garments, 5 operators in the line. And at the end of the day, you may not produce as much work out of those same 5 operators. I can actually show you that you would produce the same volume or the same amount of work, but it might not be the same number of finished garments. But you would have fewer garments in process. You would have garments cut and sewn and shipped the same day. And so all of our new factories that we built in Champion were all on single piece flow. So much more efficient, better operations. Now, the problem with single piece flow is it requires more machinery because you might have 20 machines in the line and one operator actually moves from machine to machine to do her job, his or her job. That's what makes it unique. That's how you have fewer operators in place because they do multiple operations simultaneously, or not simultaneously, but sequentially. And then they hand it off to another operator who does more pieces, more work on those same pieces. If you haven't seen it,
So
it's interesting to see, but it's not, it doesn't look like conventional sewing at all. It's stand up, it's not sit down, it's moving, not staying in place. It's one piece at a time, not 35 or 40 pieces at a time.